Hey everyone, I'm Jay.
And I'm Sean.
And we watched a movie.
We watched a few.
We watched so many movies, and yet we took a couple of days off and they've just piled up and up and up, and now we have to talk about them or I'll burst.
Yeah, you're
yeah,
holding
you've been
it
feeling
in.
it? Yeah, you're like, Okay, so where do we start? Wonder Woman? Can we start there? Should we start with Wonder Woman? Wonder Woman 1984. Finally, we get to see it because it was delayed like 7 times, something like that. We've been waiting many months to finally see this sucker, the follow-up to the wonderful Wonder Woman that burst into theaters and took us all by surprise at just how good a superhero movie really could be, especially a DC one. Who knew they could make good ones? They've just been holding out on us. So Patty Jenkins is back. Chris Pine is back. What? And Gal Gadot dons her armor once again, her little bracelets. She's got her lasso. She's got her tiara on, and she's ready to go.
Yes, she is.
So, as you may have picked up from the brilliant title, Wonder Woman 1984, this sucker takes place in 1984. So it has been like 70 years since the last movie, which took place during the Great War. So now here we are in 1984. Diana has been laying low this whole time. Like, the world is not talking about Wonder Woman.
No, she's keeping it a secret.
She's keeping it a pretty big
two secret identities.
Yes, she's really on the down low, but she's not working as Wonder Woman. She will trot her out when necessary, but she's not taking any credit. And in fact, in the opening mall scene, there's a heist, a jewelry store heist that she's got to foil. And she's like, reluctant about it. But the first thing she does is break all of the security cameras. Because she does not want to be caught on camera.
Even then, she knows the power of video.
That's right. So she has been working on the down low. Diana Prince herself has been working at the Smithsonian.
Yes.
So she is working at the museum behind the scenes as a cultural anthropologist and archeologist, I think.
Yeah, she knows something about it, having lived for how many hundreds or thousands of years.
I do wonder, though, how she worded it on her resume.
Yeah.
Because I bet that's not it.
Life experience.
Which is where she meets Barbara Minerva, who is a new hire at the museum and seems to be fairly invisible and forgettable there by all but Diana, who does pick her out and finds her quite personable. But Barbara Minerva is played by Kristen Wiig, and she is, a wallflower type, but doesn't really want to be. She seems a little frustrated at how invisibly she feels and is treated. She also works at the museum. She's a gemologist, among other things. She is a new hire, but she's got an exciting case, or at least they think it's going to be exciting, because the FBI has asked her to consult. And she does seem to feel like the FBI is like a celebrity. The FBI. And I think it's a piece that was actually taken from that jewelry store heist, right?
It was, yeah.
So it was actually like a black market front or something like that.
There was an antiquities dealer in the back.
At your local mall!
Yeah.
So she's taking a look at it, though, and it doesn't look all that exciting or interesting.
Not valuable.
This stone. But it does claim to be a wish granter. So Diana and Barbara are both taking a look at it, and before either of them really realize its potential, they've made their secret, quiet, silent wishes on it. A colleague makes a verbal wish for coffee, and it does appear right away.
Does. Yeah.
But it's not really until the next morning that we realize those wishes maybe came true. Because Diana wakes up next to Steve Trevor. You know, the one who's been dead for 70 years. And Barbara, who wished to be like Diana, wakes up cool and sexy, but also with a few surprises that she hadn't bargained for. So that's the basic premise. Nobody really knew about this stone except perhaps Maxwell Lord, 80s businessman.
Yeah.
Although I think he is spending a lot above his means. He's spending to look like a very successful businessman, but it seems like he has not been a very successful businessman. And I realized later, it's probably because he's drilling for oil, but he's not really drilling for oil. He has been looking for this thing. That's why he's not finding oil, because he's not really looking for it. That's just what he's telling people to get them to invest with him. So he's been looking for this wish-granting stone. Kind of seduces Barbara a little bit to get close to it and steal it. And now he has the power to grant the world's wishes, which is actually a pretty big power when you think about it.
Yes, it is.
So Diana, who's been grieving for 70 years, but let's face it, also pretty horny for 70 years, I'm guessing, just wants to stay in bed with Steve.
Sure.
But now she's gonna have to get up, put her suit on, and go to work because an evil businessman has stolen the wish-granting stone. And because Barbara Minerva is slowly transitioning into the cheetah now that she's got some sexy, exciting powers, which she's only beginning to. Yeah. Yes. So, my goodness. How did you feel about this movie, Sean?
It's really good. There's been mixed reviews I've seen, and it's something that I don't understand, really.
Okay.
I don't know why you hate on this movie, honestly. It's a fun movie. And, like, some stuff, sure, you can find plot holes. But,
sure,
I don't know, that's superhero movies.
Well, that's movies.
Comics. Like, it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's a little bit breathtaking because it feels like it never stops, but it's like a long movie. It's 2.5 hours. So I was like, and it's not a far-reaching movie. It is a small little thing. So there's a lot of action packed into this thing. Of course, it starts with action between the mall opening sequence, and also we flash back to young Diana playing in the Amazon warrior games, which I thought were fantastic.
Yeah.
So exciting to see those. Even the snippets before she starts competing. There's a lot of games going on.
There are.
And I could spend all day just watching that, I have a feeling. But little Diana competes, and she is a very strong competitor. Her mother and her aunt are both like, I don't know if you should go. And she's like, I could do it. And the thing is, she can do it. So we do get that sense of what a warrior Diana is and was, even from such a young age, competing against the very best.
Of course, it could be the Baby Yoda situation, where she was like 75 and just still looks like a kid.
True, but that would be the same for everyone. Yeah, she was among Baby Yodas, so it's not really. Anyways, so she learns as a child that you can't win the easy way. You can't take shortcuts. And you're not going to win until you're ready. So now we've moved to 1984. Is she ready?
She's ready.
Yeah, but it's tough.
It is tough.
It's very tough. And I think it's interesting because we've got Cheetah, we've got Maxwell Lord, but I thought more than that, the villains in this, the villains are not evil, which I liked. We don't have to make them evil to make them strong. I think Cheetah is a strong villain because of how much she wants it and what she's willing to do to protect it. I think Maxwell Lord is a strong villain. Not because he's evil, but because he can give people what they want. And so people are willing to give him a pretty big pass. Ordinary people, governments, everyone is willing. Everybody wants something. So you don't have to be this evil, murdery guy because he can get people to do it for him.
Yep.
That's a lot of power to wield. But I think it's also interesting to keep little flecks of humanity in your villains. It almost makes it scarier and worse.
Yeah, you're right. In the way it does, because he's not a psychopath. He's
right.
not uncaring. He's just chosen this path to get what he wants. And I also felt like in this one, you know, it's very easy in World War I. You could set it in any war, and it's easy to know who your enemy is. Yep.
I think in this case, because Maxwell Lord is reaching out basically to the world to grant wishes, it makes everyone a little bit complicit, a little bit guilty, a little bit the villain. And so she's not just fighting people, but she's also fighting concepts, right? The concept of wanting more and being greedy and taking shortcuts to get what you want. And those are harder to fight because you can't kick and punch them.
Yep.
So Wonder Woman is going to have to use more than just her fighting skills or her strength or her power, which is much more difficult. I think superheroes have
a big challenge.
Yes, tended to fight just very physical things, and we are easily impressed by seeing those physical things be destroyed. But in this case, she has to appeal to emotion. She has to appeal to human nature and try to negotiate that.
Yeah, and I think that's what both the Wonder Woman movies have done really well, is give her a challenge. Because especially in DC, where the heroes are basically gods, literally for Diana, how do you do it? You can't just have them punch people, because it doesn't matter how big the person is, she's eventually going to punch them down. So yeah, you have this where it isn't a physical obstacle, it's something that she has to find a way to overcome, even though, as you said, it's pretty big odds when it is, she's taking on that desire that everyone has and trying to find a way to get people to change their behavior. Even
when she herself made the wish.
Oh, she can relate.
Like, she has done it too, because we all have those latent desires and want to take an easy way to getting them.
Yep.
So I think it is interesting because we're meeting her, and she does seem like her skills are honed. Whatever she's been doing in these 70 years, training has been part of it. She knows how to use all of her weapons. I don't know if that's
lasso?
fair. Yeah, the things she has, her gadgets, for lack of a better word, I'm sorry. But she really seems to have discovered her powers and is trading on them. And then here comes a villain who's going to negate those powers in a lot of ways, because also she grows weaker for having made the wish, because the wish extracts something from the wisher.
Yep, your most important possession.
So I do think it was very, very interesting how we do sort of take that away. And what a thing to do. What a ballsy move in a superhero movie to kind of take away those powers that she relies on. Which, don't worry, we're still going to see a lot of them. There's a lot of fun fight sequences. But yeah, like you said, giving her a challenge that she hasn't seen before, we haven't seen before. Yeah, it's a big hurdle, this one, guys. So I really enjoyed it. And like you, I had heard some mixed reviews, I suppose, but is it as good as the first? Probably not.
It's hard to be better than the first.
It is hard to be better than the first. And also, we've taken away that, that feeling like, oh, we've never seen this before. Because we did. We saw it in the first one. So it's kind of not fair. And sequels always are going to sort of fight against, if that first one was really crazy good, it's maybe going to pale in comparison. But at the end of the day, I finished this movie. We actually watched it twice. And I had to say, I was 100% entertained by it. So I don't really know that I could be anything more than 100%. So
no.
There you go. I really loved it. I loved a lot of the little winks in the movie too. Of course, if you stay to a mid-credit scene, I guess. There's somebody in the movie that Diana's been looking for, I think for pretty much the whole entire 70 years. In fact, she borrows her beautiful gold armor. And wow, cool. What an outfit. Yep. Oh, good for you, hon. But she borrows the gold armor, but could never find the missing person. But the camera finds her. The camera finds her mid-credits. And I loved that wink. One of the Amazonians, I think, greatest warriors ever, but who has never gone back to that society and maybe can't. I think
once you leave, you can't go back.
But she's still out there somewhere, and it sort of leaves the door open to her reappearing in number 3. Now, as much as Diana's been on the down low, clearly this person has also.
Yeah, because Diana couldn't even find her.
Exactly.
And she's an anthropologist.
Yeah, and she found the armor, so
yeah.
This woman does not want to be found. Will she be found? Who knows? But I loved that we got to see her. I also love that we got to see, in the sort of the end scene of the movie, Diana is standing beside the handsome man. So I know there was a lot of talk about this handsome man. This is the man who Steve Trevor reappears in his body. And yeah, we never really get any sense of what that man went through, what it was like for him. Was he in there somewhere? Like he really just uses another person's body and doesn't thank him for it or worry about the guy or his family or anything. Anyways, if you're willing to overlook that, we do just call him Handsome Man, and he appears in the last scene of the movie, and he and Diana are watching kids have a snowball fight. And those kids belong to Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot. In fact, we see both of her daughters. Her youngest daughter is on a carousel with Gal Gadot's husband. And that little girl was into Gal Gadot's belly when she shot the first Wonder Woman. But I really liked that inclusion because pregnancy is one of the reasons Patty Jenkins had to give up on Wonder Woman like a decade ago. Was when she was first attached and trying to get it off the ground, and she was pregnant. And this happens so much to female directors. And, you know, choosing career or family is not a fair choice to ask of anyone, and we shouldn't have to choose one or the other. And I thought it was such a great way to sort of put that in the movie, to just say, yeah, guess what? We can do both. We can do both. This is Wonder Woman and her director. We both have babies, and we're both still working. So I thought it was really great to see that. Of course, we have since heard, and it's hard to know exactly how well Wonder Woman is doing. It is on HBO Max for Americans. If you are lucky enough to have that, you could just watch it for no additional cost to you. The rest of us have to pay a premium rental, worth the price, well worth the price. I mean, obviously we would have paid to see it in theaters, so it's not really...
It's not any more money.
It's not an expense, but anyways, they have fast-tracked number 3, which I'm so glad to hear, because we talked about this when I did my 84 facts about Wonder Woman 1984. That was back in October, when we thought it might come out in October. I'll link. There are some stuff I was right about, there's stuff I was wrong about. Gosh, I wish I could do another 84 things just to talk about all of those things and if they happened. But we knew that Patty Jenkins basically already had a script for the third, and that she was setting it in the present day. But had kind of stopped it because in the middle of a pandemic, you know, she's wondering now, is Wonder Woman going to have to fight a virus? Like, is this something we're going to have to acknowledge in the movies?
It'd be a challenge.
Yeah, there you go. So now I know that they are fast-tracking that movie. It is going forward, and I'm very glad. I'm excited to see what else they possibly have in store for us. Patty Jenkins is going to be a busy lady, because first she's got Cleopatra. Cleopatra, starring, guess who? Gal Gadot. A story that she really wanted to bring to the big screen once again. So they will be working together on that. And then, of course, Everyone knows Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Ooh, that's going to be a biggie.
Yes, it will.
So
it's always a biggie.
Exactly.
There's no small Star Wars movies.
Very, very true. So we've got both of those things coming, I think, probably before Wonder Woman number 3.
She's busy.
Busy lady, yes. So, who's excited? Yes.
You.
That's right. So you really liked this movie?
I did, absolutely.
Anything more you want to say about it?
Well, just that it is nice to see Wonder Woman being made by women, because I think it makes a difference. I think that is a big part of why this movie and the previous one feel different from the boys just punching stuff. And I think it is a neat contrast and something that has always been true of Wonder Woman. She is different because she's a woman.
Even though she still has all of that strength and
She does.
ability to punch that the boys have. But I do think it is very remarkable how different she feels in this movie than when we first met her in a Batman movie.
Yeah.
You know, once the women took her over, suddenly she's becoming a very different character. Not a very different character, but there's a lot of little things that make you really feel like, okay, yeah. Once we take away the male gaze, and it's not like a man still can't gaze, there's still plenty to gaze, but you make her into a character, not just a sex symbol. It turns out she is a whole person, a very interesting one, and it has been a real pleasure to get to know her. But I sort of felt the same way with Birds of Prey, that taking Harley Quinn away from a man and putting her in the hands of a female director changed her and made her better and more interesting and a fuller person and not just a sex symbol again.
Yep. It's a good comment on both of them. And we have seen both of them initially in male-directed movies.
That's right.
And they are very different.
Yes, they are. Anyways, I loved Wonder Woman 1984. I don't really know what else I could ask from that movie. I felt completely satisfied and entertained by it. Gal Gadot, I think, is just divine in the lead role. They did very good casting her.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine anyone else at this point.
Hard to imagine anyone else, yeah. Kristen Wiig, I really liked. I think they did a really good job, actually, of even just like hair and makeup, for example, and her wardrobe, being Barbara before and Barbara after. She just, you know, looks just 10% sexier than 20% sexier, 20% more confident, more like it just this evolution she has. It doesn't happen just overnight. She doesn't just wake up the cheetah. She wakes up a woman who has got a little bit more going for her, but she grows into it. And I thought that was really well done. Pedro Pascal, just exciting just to see his face. Perhaps we've been watching too much The Mandalorian. Certainly, we did watch it leading up to this movie's release. We did get to see his face a little bit this time.
A little bit.
A little bit. And not just us, shockingly.
No, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
Controversial.
Yes. But in this movie, in Wonder Woman 1984, he is a father. Maxwell Lord is a father. But he's also a son. And so we see actually his humanity, I think, which has fed his desire to be this person, but also tempers it. And I think that's really, I think it's very bold to allow your villain to have a shred of humanity that people can maybe relate to or understand where it comes from. Does it make him less scary? Clearly not. You know, he has some, not even terrible intentions. It's just that when you have that much power, it always goes terribly. We know this, and yet we will never accept it. And Chris Pine, my goodness. It's a little bit fun because, of course, in the first movie, he takes Diana back to London, and she has never seen the human world, so she is a fish out of water, just amazed by every single thing. And in this case, you know, he's gone from way back when to waking up in 1984. Now he's the fish out of water, and it's very exciting to see him discover the 80s. Because even in retrospect, we have trouble explaining the 80s. It's very, like, what can you say about a lot of that stuff?
Happening.
Yeah. So yeah, the 80s we struggle to really even explain with hindsight. They were a strange time. And I like, you know, Patty Jenkins definitely teases us with a few of the 80s highlights, but we don't get lost in that. You know, this movie is not really about 80s nostalgia, which is good. I think it was a natural setting for talking about things like greed and corruption, because that was sort of the height of those things. But yeah, this is not a movie about 80s nostalgia. We're not going to overdo it. And for Diana, she almost is a timeless feeling character. It's interesting because in the first movie, she is a god, right? Like you said, she has lived on this amazing island, Themyscira, all this time and has never really known the human world. But now she's been living in it for 70 years. And so her own humanity has surfaced quite a bit. And she relates more to humans. She understands humans more. So all of these things, plus the fact that, I mean, we really do get the sense that she has been grieving Steve for 70 years. Has, you know, never forgotten him, certainly, but never really moved on, never really opened up to anyone else. So she has been lonely and sad for 70 years, which is a long time to be alone and sad. She really has given up a lot to stay in the human world. So she's already sacrificed a lot. This movie is going to ask her to sacrifice much more. And we see how difficult it is even for her. So I think when we see the humanity in our superheroes and the humanity in our villains, it makes for a much more complex story instead of just good versus evil punching each other. You know, which is a fallacy anyways. So that's why I admire Wonder Woman 1984. I'm so glad we get to have this kind of superhero in our lives. I think we obviously needed her, and I'm glad she's here.
There you go.
There
Come
we
back,
go.
Wonder Woman.
Yes, I can't wait. Please do fast track that number 3. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.